2 years ago, in the middle of the longest federal government shutdown in U.S. history, Norman Vick, a political science professor at my alma mater, Carleton College, sent me a poem written in despair about then-President Donald Trump. He called it Then We Knew. First, we thought he would never be a serious candidate. Then we thought he would never get the nomination. Then we thought he would never win the election. Then we thought he would become presidential. Then we thought the generals would protect us. Then we thought Bob Mueller would save us. Then we thought the Democrats would impeach him. Then we thought the Republicans would abandon him. Then we thought he could never be reelected. Then we thought the Constitution would save us. Then we stopped thinking. Then we knew. Professor Vick wrote that poem a year before Trump's first impeachment and Senate acquittal in 2020. And I've been thinking about it since Trump's second impeachment last month and his Senate acquittal yesterday. Yes, the Constitution did save us this time because Mike Pence refused to do the bidding of an anti-constitutional, authoritarian, and defeated chief executive. And despite a violent insurrection at the U.S. Capitol that could have led to his death, and the deaths of members of Congress, Pence and the men and women of the House and Senate did their constitutional duty and certified the election of President Joe Biden. Yes, the Constitution saved us. But yesterday's acquittal doesn't mean that American democracy is safe. Yesterday's not guilty verdict means there are no consequences for inciting an insurrection against a co-equal branch of government. And if a president can't be held accountable for that, then the impeachment clause of the Constitution is useless, and a president is beyond the reach of accountability. No, we're not there yet, but we will be if people of conscience, especially Democrats, wallow in cynicism over things like the House impeachment managers not calling witnesses. Folks need to see the forest for the trees. Don't forget, the New York Attorney General and Manhattan District Attorney are looking at any number of Trump-related financial improprieties. The Fulton County, Georgia District Attorney is looking into Trump's interference there in the 2020 election. And don't forget about E. Jean Carroll's defamation suit, the one that could compel Trump to testify and maybe even give a DNA sample. He said her allegation of rape 20 years earlier, revealed in her 2019 book, was, quote, fiction. But it's not enough to pray for Trump to face real legal consequences. Saving our democracy demands that we vote with the passion and in the numbers that we did last November. Democrats must hold the House and the Senate in 2022. For if they don't, the Republican Party of Trump will run our democracy right into the ground. I'm Jonathan Capehart, and this is The Sunday Show.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.